Hey everyone, my name is Nikolai Pavlov. Welcome to my channel. In this video, I'd like to show you how to do a simple scenario analysis using DAX measures, right? Some people think that scenario analysis is a bit advanced, but I'll try to keep it simple and we'll explain the logic behind the measures. Because once you understand the logic, writing the code itself isn't that hard really. My opinion is once you know why and when to do something, then the how to do it part isn't really that hard and you can always quickly learn it. So here we start with a simple table. I put quarters and years and then total sales and total profit. And profit being total sales minus total cost. So basically what I'd like to do is to see what my total sales amount would be if I increased the prices of my items by a certain percent, 5%, 10%, 15, maybe 20. Now let's go to our sales table and understand the logic, what I'm trying to do here. I have the unit price here and quantity. And my measure total sales equals to, I'm using the SumX formula, using which I multiply price by quantity. And basically what a 10% increase is 1 plus 0.1, right, multiplied by quantity. So if my total sales measure equals to price of an item multiplied by the quantity of that item sold, and then if I multiply that by 10%, then I will get the 10% increase of my total sales. That's the logic. So if I change my measure by multiplying it by 10%, then my measure, my amount of total sales will change by 10%. I'm going to go back and actually remove this to have a normal total sales amount. Now once we know what to do, right, we got to figure out how to do it. The first step is to build a separate table for price change, which will serve me as a switch from one value to another. To do that, we're going to go to the Home tab and then enter data. And we're going to build a new table. And let's name it price switch, if I can spell it correctly. Then in that table, we're going to have the following values. So we're going to have 0.5, so 5%, right? Then let's have 10%, 15%, and let's just throw in 20% as well for the sake of it. All right, so the table is going to be called, let's call it price switch table. Okay, find my table and actually change these values to percent. Alright, now let's put these values as a slicer so we can use it as a switch for our values. Make it a little bit bigger. Okay, right now it's not connected to anything, right? And when we change the numbers, nothing changes. You see, it's the total sales number shows the same number. So once I have that table ready, I gotta connect the two tables and make it so, right, that when I switch the percent value in my slicer, the calculation of my total sales changes by that number. It gets multiplied by the value that I selected in the slicer. Now let's create a new measure for scenario sales, the measure which will connect these two tables together. Let's call that scenario sales equals to, it's going to be SumX. In the sales table, remember a few minutes ago I showed the logic in which we multiplied price by 1 plus 10%, right? So instead of 10%, we need to put the values from that table. And how do we do that? We're going to use the function selected value. So the selected value from our table price switch table. So select those values. If those values are not selected, then leave it as 0. So it will be no change, right? And then we multiply it finally by a quantity. Right here. Again, let's take a look at the formula here. We're using SumX in the sales table, in which we are multiplying price by the selected value from our table which we created, the price switch table. If we select 5, 0.5 will be added to 1, and then multiplying it by the quantity of items sold. And if we commit, we'll have the scenario sales here. Hold on, let's put it in this table, actually. Let's actually format it correctly. You see my values are incorrect. When I formatted it, I see that my scenario sales are they should be more, right, by 10%. But the number which is shown here is actually less than my total sales. So there got to be a mistake somewhere in my measure. Let's take a look where a mistake is. Yes, I found that. It's actually, you see, I forgot to close the bracket here. So if we close the bracket and then remove one here, now we have the correct number. Now if we take a look at the switch, we can press the button here. If we increase it by 5%, then we have 963 million. If we don't have any values selected, you see it's the same number as the total sales. Identical. If we put 10%, it increases by 10%, 20% by 20%. To make it more visual, let's build another visualization right here. And just see the difference, and just see the difference between the scenario sales and total sales over time period. You see, if we click the switch, then we can see by how much scenario sales our new sales will be compared to the original total sales. And if we don't select anything, then these bars are identical. To make it easier, we could even build another measure which will help us to visualize the switch and help to connect the table we created with the measure. What I mean here is this. Let's build a measure. Let's name it scenario indicator, and it will be the same measure which we put inside the scenario sales measure. So it's selected value, switch table switch, right? So a price switch, and if not, 0. And then let's put this indicator right here. Where is that? Oh, let's put it as a card. Yeah, let's put it as a card. We can change this to B%. The new measure which I just selected, right, shows the measure selected. It can be helpful, right, to visualize for end users, for them to see what your switch is, right? And also, we can go back to our scenario sales, and instead of this long formula, we could change it and put a more simple looking one, scenario indicator, right here. And it will be the same. The result will be the same. So basically, it's an intermediary step which can connect the two tables together and make formula look a lot easier. Alright, that's it for today, guys. Hopefully you got the logic behind the scenario analysis, and you've seen how you can build a separate table and then connect it with your other calculations using DAX. In the next video, we'll explore the scenario analysis further and make more complex calculations. Until then, have a great Christmas holidays. Take care of yourself, and if you can, of someone else as well. Cheers. See you guys later.